Today we are presenting you our NZSSCC case study. So these are the 3 case questions that we will be evaluating. So why do cooperatives exist? So firstly, it is to build communities and to benefit our members. Secondly, it is to have an environmental and social impact. And thirdly, to have a long-term growth. So what are the key differences between corporate and cooperative strategies? For cooperatives, it means that there's a profit distribution based on usage. It means that there's an open membership and activities required from all of our shareholders. For corporate business strategies, it means that there's a profit distribution based on ownership. There is closed/limited membership, and no contribution from stakeholders and shareholders are required. So what are the advantages and disadvantages? So for individualists, the advantages are the businesses are profitable in the short term, and there's flexibility in decision making, and company efficiency is maximized. For disadvantages, it means that relationships break down over time, and there's a lack of participation from the shareholders. For collectivists, it means that it keeps communities and consumer interests close to promote long-term sustainability, and this means that businesses have the ability to survive long-term. For disadvantages, it means slower decision-making processes due to multiple shareholders' interests for the company. So currently, which management structure benefits the business more? So in the consumer's interest, they are looking for business impacts on social and environmental issues. So this means that businesses need to share their interests and build stronger relationships in the long term with their consumers. So therefore, businesses should be adopting collectivist management structures because of their advantage in the long term and their relationships between the consumers, which means that this is an ideal management system for businesses to adapt in the 21st century consumer attitude.
An introduction to Foodstuffs North Island. Foodstuffs North Island is the largest grocery retailer in New Zealand. It owns many iconic franchises in New Zealand, such as New Worlds, Pack and Save, Foursquares, Gilmore's, and Liquorland. Foodstuffs, in combination with Woolworth, creates a duopoly in the supermarket industry in New Zealand. Environmental and social issues faced by Foodstuffs: the rising cost of living, lower income families not being able to purchase essential goods, a duopoly between Foodstuffs and Woolworth, and Foodstuffs North Island has intensive farming. According to our observations, Foodstuffs is not adhering to the major principles of education, training, and information provided to members and general public, and concerns for the community.
So as previously stated, Foodstuffs North Island has not been adhering to those 2 principles: education, training, and information provided to members and the general public, as well as concern for community. We can prove this actually because Foodstuffs has firmly cemented itself in a duopoly with Woolworths in the supermarket industry, and therefore has been driving higher prices and also contributing to poverty in NZ. Therefore, they don't have the consumer in mind. They have also, another major point of interest is that they have been using misleading promotional material to intentionally mislead customers as to the value they receive when they purchase a product, and this was a major point of interest in an investigation conducted by the Commerce Commission in New Zealand. As part of our case study, we are required to analyze a company's contribution to Sustainable Development Goals as imposed by the UN. For Foodstuffs, we feel it is the most relevant goal that we could follow would be number 2, which is to end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture. So as for the relevance to Foodstuffs, Foodstuffs is obviously a quite large perpetrator of poverty in New Zealand, as they continue to drive prices higher and contribute to cost of living. Because they are such a large contributor, they should largely be responsible for mitigating some of the harm that they have caused lower income families. Therefore, we have devised 3 outcomes and objectives relevant to the business that Foodstuffs should be following in order to contribute to the UN sustainability goal and try and reach it, while also keeping in mind their role as a business in providing revenue. As seen here, we have to reestablish Foodstuffs as a socially responsible business entity, to ensure longer-term relationships with customers in the community are held, and to strengthen financial support for families in need. Now, Foodstuffs is already contributing towards the goal and these subsequent objectives in some way, mainly through charity funds and discounted goods. So for charity funds, they have the Foodies Foundation, which has raised over $1.6 million for over 150 families. And they also have a discounted goods initiative in two of their biggest supermarket chains, which are Pack and Save and New World, having their everyday lows. They have lowered prices by 10% on over 110 regularly purchased items at the supermarket. Therefore, we have devised a business strategy that expands on some of Foodstuffs' existing frameworks and also adds some new elements in order to better address the UN Sustainability Goal and our objectives. Those three being social supermarket expansion, budgeting education programs, and price rollback expansion. So as for social supermarkets, a social supermarket basically is a supermarket that is priced at extreme discounts and is offered to people in their time of need. There are approximately 11 for Foodstuffs in North Island, and they are few and far between. Therefore, we have decided that 2 new units of small supermarkets based in low decile suburbs, bringing the total to 13 Foodstuff social supermarkets would be beneficial. One location will open in Manurewa, and the other would open in Gisborne. These 2 locations have historical high levels of poverty, according to census data, and with no social supermarket within 20 minutes of driving. We also plan to unify branding across social supermarkets to promote the initiative under Whare Kai, helping it be more recognizable. The cost should be approximately $1.85 million, and we hope to reach a forecasted 4,000 individuals. These numbers are supported by the data shown here.
Our expansion of Pack and Save and New World's price rollback schemes are planned to include a variety of new non-edible items that were previously not included as listed here. This expansion would allow for less restrictive shopping experience and help Kiwis afford groceries without harming Foodstuff revenue to a large degree. We hope this would leave more room for families to purchase nutritious goods that Foodstuffs can offer. It is understood from Foodstuffs' website that the initial revenue setback as a result of the rollback initiative schemes set out by major supermarket chains such as Pack and Save and New World is estimated to be around $23 million. This scheme was applied to around 110 products, most of which were non-edible products. Assuming similar profit margins for items included in the list above to these included in the initial scheme, and assuming each product would have 3 to 5 brands competing within the store, the estimated cost, including the 8 additional types of goods in the 10% price rollback initiatives offered by Pack and Save and New World, is around 640,000 New Zealand dollars. This is relatively achievable figure relative to Foodstuffs' reported yearly profit of $44.9 million. Our budgeting education will encompass a selection of schools in Aotearoa in partnership with Aid Speed in order to further educate young students on how budgeting works in relation to regular supermarket shopping. Using ASB's existing budgeting education framework, we can introduce new material into the program that involves creating shopping lists, meal plans, etc. This is our roadmap of our plan to implement our 3 different stages. Our SWOT analysis. Our strengths include a wide range of audiences covered, low time to implement, and far-reaching long-term impacts. Our weaknesses include social supermarkets are more expensive to maintain than charities, and the fact that operating social supermarkets and price rollbacks negatively affects Foodstuff revenue long-term. Opportunities include cheaper essential goods, which means more affordability for families and more customers. Threats include the threat of losing revenue when it's both sustainable and cheap on essential needs, and rejection from targeted audiences of donation and education programs.
And thusly, we have comprehensively answered all of the questions presented in this case. Thank you for listening.
Let's go.